Hi there, my name is Oscar. I'm a solo game developer making games under the name of Godspear Games. Currently I'm working on Timelapse Tales. It's a text-driven role-playing game with an open world and tons of little quests and adventures for up to 4 players. It's also the project that's been chipping away at my sanity for over a year. If you want to follow my development journey for this project, and others in the future, you could either sacrifice your firstborn to Satan and hope he keeps you up to date, or you could subscribe. And I think we both know which is the better option here. In the last devlog, I gave you a short overview of everything I've been doing in the past year with regards to Timelapse Tales. If you haven't seen it yet, I suggest you go check it out so you're all up to date. This devlog, I will be talking about the developments of the past few weeks to the past few months. I have 3 main topics that I want to show you guys, and I will leave timestamps in the description so you can easily skip to certain parts that interest you. Some will be more technical and some will be more focused on content or design. Topic 1. New features. One of the main things I've been noticing lately is that players don't always realize it when they see a special outcome, and that's on me. I should have known, I was dealing with a bunch of dum-dums. But to give players a clue as to how they got certain outcomes and that the one they're looking at is special, I introduced badges into the game. These badges appear whenever you get an outcome that had a condition, and it lets you know what condition that was by showing a little tooltip if you hover over them. Which brings us to the next item on our docket, tooltips. I added little tooltips to all the items in the game and the badges so you could read a bit more about what exactly you have in your inventory. To showcase the fact that you're walking around in a big open world, I used my art kits to create more scenes for one location. The characters will now travel from one scene to another when they finish a scenario. Because my brain is very big, I originally cut up all the art kits into separate parts that I could combine to make entire scenes, and it was easy to make more scenes without having to draw additional assets this time. One of the most recent additions to the game is the scenario menu. When you finish up a scenario, you get to choose a new one out of 3 randomly selected scenarios. This way, I hope to give players a bit more agency while still keeping that randomization element in the game. I might add more information to this, such as types of rewards you can get, but for now this works just fine. Since I am, after all, only human, I also have to eat. Usually I can survive on just coffee and existential dread, but every once in a while I cook myself a proper meal. Feel free to leave recipe suggestions below so I can check them out and we can both act like we know how to use a kitchen in the public eye. Topic 2. Editor reworks. So something else that I've spent a lot of time on the past few weeks is a rework of the scenario editor and the scenario structure. The reason for this is that the core structure of scenarios was a bit flawed. You see, scenarios used to be made up out of 3 different...
Oscar, my boy, let's face it. This editor is the same thing your mama always said about you. It's not perfect, it's flawed, it's ugly, but it's yours. So you gon' fix it. You gon' make it pretty, Oscar, cause it's your responsibility.
On top of that, there were some other small things that would be fixed if I just merged prompts and outcomes, since they take up the same place in the game structure anyway. So after continuously procrastinating about this for a good 6 months, I bit the bullet. I decided to completely remove outcomes and put all the extra functionality that they used to offer in prompts and options. While doing this, I also decided to rework the prompts so that shops and combat were based on the same base prompt object. Doing this fixed all sorts of small inconveniences I had faced in the past when creating content. Now, I could for instance start a scenario immediately with a combat or a shop, something I couldn't do before. Because I am a bit of a masochist, I also changed another core object in our editor. I added conditions to options so that I could lock certain options until players had found certain items or unlocked certain levels or something. Once again, this opened up many possibilities for creating quests and scenarios. To make content creation even a little bit easier, I added certain shorthands and automated different parts of the special effects on the text. In other words, this shit just got funky. I used to surround words with certain tags to make them appear in cool colors and effects. Now at first, this worked fine, but it quickly became a hassle for words I would animate every time. So I wrote a small piece of code that allowed me to automatically add these tags afterwards based on some lists of words I made. Locations, for instance, automatically get their tags added now, as well as interesting people or objects.
Now that we're done talking about boring nerd stuff, let's talk about boring life stuff.
While making video games, I try to keep a healthy work-life balance. Sometimes I get so caught up in a new feature or a bug that needs fixing that I work 10 to 12 hours a day. Because of this unhealthy focus on productivity, I usually try to work 7 to 8 hours a day and then finish up whatever I'm doing as fast as possible. After work, I call my girlfriend or I play video games with friends just to relax, because friends are fun, usually.
Holy Oscar, you're actually a piece of You suck!
Why are you green anyway?
Topic 3. New quests. Alright, so back to productivity. Lately, Adam from Beeswax Games has been helping me make some content for Textbound Tales. Many of the new features that I mentioned earlier were actually based on his suggestions. One of the first things he added was the mechanic questline. It's a small introduction scenario where you meet Tom Hardy, the mechanic. He's allergic to coal, so he needs your help fixing up some steam-powered vehicles. You get to play a little minigame to fix a vehicle every time you enter his shop, and he'll give you some money in return. The game now also features a quest about a thief who's been robbing the local market. If you play your cards right, you can help the guards apprehend him, assuming you beat him in a pastry throwing battle, of course. Or you can choose to help the thief and share the profits.
Welcome to the Hunter's Lodge. In this beautiful establishment, we aim to give the high society hunting folk of Textbound Tales a place to truly relax. Smoke a cigar, sip some whiskey, and have a gander at the exclusive weapons available at Arliss & Finch's Artillery, your local firearms provider. Have you been drinking? Do you need weapons? Do you have a gun and has the shopkeeper been giving you a hard time? Well then we here at Arliss & Finch's Artillery have a solution for you. Shoot him in the head, in the stomach, through his shell, miss, shoot him twice if you have to. Just shoot him! This message was sponsored by Arliss & Finch's Artillery.
Let's face it, we've all been there. You're walking through the city with your buddies and suddenly a crazy fellow from the future comes to you and tells you that you have to find magical blue markings in 7 different locations so he can save his wife and kids. No? Just me? Well, anyway, you can now experience this epic story for yourself in Textbound Tales. Topic 4. Combat updates. Alright, so I actually completely forgot to add this part to the devlog, so I'm adding it now. I spent some time making combat easier to make and also more satisfying to play. I added some shorthands to let characters play their attack animations and immediately linked it to the hit or dodge animations on the characters being targeted. On top of that, I also added some automatic screen shake and a little particle effect to give the hit a bit more punch. Then I also made a list of approximately 20 words that will randomly appear above the character's head whenever they get hit. They're kinda like comic book-ish, because I thought that would be funny. One of the new fights that was added is the Scroblin fight. Scroblins are these creatures that roam around in nearby forests looking for trouble. You can encounter them randomly, but you can also go find them yourself in case you want to fulfill one of the Hunter's Lodge's contracts, for instance. There's also a combat encounter in the city now. At night, you might run into a drunk guy who clearly has nothing better to do than bothering you, and before you know it, you gotta knock him out in a full-on fist fight to continue your journey. All of these new features and changes will be coming to the demo on Steam soon, so keep an eye on that if you'd like to try them out for yourself. I also plan on doing a Kickstarter for this project at some point, so I will leave that link in the description so you can go there and sign up to get notified when it does go live. That's it for this devlog. If you enjoyed watching, like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts or certain aspects of it, or just anything at all to be honest. And make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see the upcoming devlogs as well. watching again, and I hope to see you again next time.